Debt, Lesson 9, Debt Consolidation. In this lesson, we're going to talk about what debt consolidation is, why someone would need to consolidate their debt, and the pros and cons of debt consolidation. Debt consolidation is when you combine two or more debts into a single debt. It's fairly common for people to do this if they have multiple credit cards with high interest rates and big balances. This is an option that you have when you don't use your credit cards the right way and your balances get out of control, and then you need to find a way to make your overall debt more manageable. Rolling those multiple debts into a single payment usually saves money over time because debt consolidation loans typically have lower interest rates than credit cards. Consolidating your debt can make your life easier, help you pay off debt faster, and possibly improve your credit score over time. One of the benefits of consolidating your debt is that it's less stressful to manage single monthly payments rather than making multiple monthly payments every month. This can be a huge help if your payments aren't automated, which they should be, but if they aren't, then making one single payment means you'll be less likely to miss a payment in the future. A debt consolidation loan will also help you pay off your debt faster. You'll have a fixed repayment schedule, which gives you a specific date that the loan has to be paid off by, which can be really helpful because credit cards don't have a set timeline. You can make minimum payments for what feels like forever. Plus, you typically have better interest rates with debt consolidation loans, which means you'll pay less interest while paying off the debt that you owe. Because the consolidation loans pay off your credit cards or whatever other debt you roll into the loan, your credit score should go up. This can help your credit score if your credit cards were maxed out or if you had a huge balance on them. Paying them off can drastically improve your credit utilization ratio because your balances are going to go down to zero. If you remember from the credit module, your credit utilization ratio affects 30% of what makes up your credit score. And as long as you're making on-time payments for your new loan, that's going to contribute to another 35% of what makes up your credit score. And between those two things, your credit score should improve. Consolidating your debt isn't always a good thing, though. Everyone's financial situation is different. Some of the drawbacks can be things like upfront costs and fees that come with taking out the loan, which potentially you could have higher interest rates on as well. And it doesn't take away the bad financial habits that got you in trouble in the first place. If you have a spending problem, a debt consolidation loan won't fix that issue. Overspending because you're not sticking to a budget or not setting aside money for emergencies and then using your credit card instead are both common ways that people rack up huge amounts of debt. Most debt consolidation comes with fees and upfront costs. A majority of consolidation loans have origination fees, balance transfer fees, closing costs, and annual fees. Sometimes there are even fees for paying off the loan early. Depending on your credit score, you could actually end up paying a higher interest rate than what your credit cards charge. In 2022, the typical interest rates for a debt consolidation loan ranged from 6% all the way up to 36%. If you made a bunch of late payments or fell behind and completely missed payments on your credit card, it would hurt your credit score pretty bad. So if you have a credit score that's less than ideal, you may not qualify for interest rates that are lower than what you are currently being charged for your credit card. If that's the case, then a debt consolidation loan is not a good option. Because it's common for people to graduate with more than 5 student loans, there's also a student loan debt consolidation option. Most college students don't graduate in 4 years. A majority of students actually take 5 or even 6 years to complete a 4-year degree. So if you take out one loan per year for college, then it's easy to rack up the number of loans that you have when you graduate. Having multiple federal loans with different service providers can get really confusing. It's easy to get mixed up trying to keep track of all those different payments. Student loan debt consolidation allows you to group all those payments into a single monthly bill, which is a big reason why so many people do it. If you have multiple student loans with different due dates, different interest rates, and payment amounts, it can get really confusing. Consolidating all those into one monthly payment can make managing your finances a lot easier. Another reason people would want to consolidate their student loans is to extend the amount of time that they have to repay them. Normally, federal student loans are supposed to be repaid within 10 years. However, most people can't do that. The average student loan borrower takes almost 20 years to repay the money that they borrowed for a bachelor's degree. With a consolidation loan, you have the option to repay them for up to 30 years. as a way to lower your monthly payment. That sounds absolutely disgusting. But it's an option that people choose because paying their student loans back is so difficult. The biggest downside to consolidating your student loans and stretching out the repayment period is that you end up paying way more interest over the long run. Your monthly payments might go down, but overall, you end up paying a lot more than the original amount that you borrowed. So, for example, the average student loan debt in 2022 is $37,000. If your federal loan interest rate was 6% and your loan repayment was only 10 years, your monthly payments are going to be roughly $410. By the time you pay the loan off, you will have paid an additional $12,293 of interest on top of the original $37,000. So that degree would cost $49,293 to pay it off on time. And if you stretched out that repayment term to 30 years at the same exact interest rate of 6%, your monthly payments are going to be a lot easier to afford because they'd be somewhere around $220 instead of $410. However, the total interest alone paid over those 30 years would be more than the original amount you borrowed to go to college in the first place. Total interest paid would be $42,860, so that $37,000 degree could turn into almost $80,000 of debt if you decide to extend the amount of time in order to make the monthly payments more affordable in the short term. The main takeaway here is to stay out of debt. Use your credit cards the right way, have an emergency fund, and hopefully you'll never find yourself in a position where you need to consolidate credit card debt. The other big takeaway is that if you're going to go to college and you know that you have to use student loans, borrow the least amount possible. Student loans will wreck you financially if you can't afford to repay them. Graduating in your early 20s and then paying on your student loans until you're in your 40s or 50s sounds absolutely awful. In this lesson, you learned about the pros and cons of debt consolidation. Single monthly payments can make your finances easier to manage, but unless you fix the problems that got you to that point, it's just a temporary solution. In the next lesson, we're going to cover different strategies for getting out of debt.